Thank you for joining us on another great podcast for Empowered Investing with Leading Ladies. Today we have a fantastic guest, Gina Diaz, who is going to join us and share her background and how she became involved in real estate investing. That is an area that I know personally for me has changed my life, and she's going to share how it's changed her life. So thank you again for joining us. And without further ado, I would like to have Gina tell us a little bit about herself.
Thank you so much for having me. It's such a honor and privilege to be here. And thank you for allowing me to share a little bit of my story and my journey, and obviously help as many people as possible, because I think real estate investing is something that all women should be doing. It's definitely something where you get to not only build your legacy, but build true wealth that you can pass on to your kids, to your family members, to your loved ones. But before I go into that, so yes, my name is Gina Diaz. I am a attorney here in Illinois. I am an immigrant. I was born in Mexico. I came here around the age of 5, 6 years old with my mother to join my father, who was already here. I grew up in the city of Chicago, not like the best of neighborhoods, but my mom worked her butt off to send me to private schools and to, really achieve the dream, which was for her, for me to, get a better education and to make something of myself. So, she put me through private schooling, and she literally just worked to pay my tuition. That's all that, she could do at the time. And then at the age of 19, I became a single mother. So it was kind of a little bit of a letdown, if you may, for my family. I'm an only child. But I knew that my parents didn't make that sacrifice of immigrating to the United States for nothing. And although it was a little bit of a setback, it actually gave me even more of that fuel that I needed, because now it wasn't just about me and my parents. I, had a child, so I had to achieve the American dream, right? So I, put myself through school. I went to school at night, worked during the day as a paralegal, decided that I really wanted to make a difference and saw a lot of injustice in the world. And as my mom says, I don't know when to shut up. So I'm like, hey, I could use my voice for, to help people out. So I decided to go to law school. I don't know how I did it, because we do not come from money. Like my parents, I grew up in a little village in Mexico where we'd have to go to the river to get water, because there was no water, there was no plumbing, there was no electricity. So we had nothing. And I just, used grants and financial aid and whatever I could, but I did it. I went to law school, graduated from law school. Then about 2 years after that, I started my own law practice because of real estate. So during the 2008-2009 crash, I had a lot of people that were asking me for help with loan modifications. At the time, I was practicing as a criminal defense attorney and as a family law attorney, because that's what I wanted to do. I went to law school because I wanted to be a criminal defense attorney and a family law attorney. But everyone kept asking me, help me with these loan modifications, and I really didn't know much about it. I was a real estate agent already, but I only did that to put myself through studying for the bar. So I wasn't really practicing. So then I started doing loan modifications, helping people, during that time that a lot of people were losing their homes. And then that kind of took me into foreclosure defense. So then I started doing foreclosure defense as well. And I'm like, well, I can do closings because I'm a realtor and I'm an attorney. So I started helping people with closings as well. Next thing you know, people are asking me about immigration. And I'm like, no, I'm not doing immigration. That is such a cliche. I'm not going to do it. Well, here I am now. The bulk of my business is immigration and real estate. So that's really what I've been doing. Fast forward 2013, I had 2 more children with my current husband. My last child, she was not even a year old when I got the news that I had ovarian cancer. I had a 5-pound tumor in my left ovary that erupted and, almost, took me with it. And as a result of that, I had to have a complete hysterectomy. So I could no longer have kids. Now, I had 3 beautiful girls at the time, and I'm very grateful for that. But I I want to have a boy, and my husband always wanted a boy, and I wanted to give him a boy, but unfortunately it wasn't in the cards for me. And I just remember my oncologist telling me, Gina, do you want to be alive for 3 or dead for 4? Because I was trying to negotiate and say, well, how about if I just get pregnant one more time, and then when you do a C-section, we'll take out the baby and we'll take the other ovary out at the same time and we all win. And he's like, yeah, that's not how it works. So, I was like, okay, well, he's like, typical attorney, you're trying to negotiate with me, but I can't negotiate with your life. So I went through menopause at the age of 32, wasn't a very happy camper at the time. And for a whole year, I was really angry. I was very, very angry. I was angry with God. I was angry with life. I was angry with everyone because I thought, how could this happen to me? I've come so far. I try to help out. I employ my own family. I help people. Like, why me? One day I woke up and I decided that I was tired of being miserable and angry. And I reversed it and say, well, why not me? Why not me? Why do I feel that I'm so special that God shouldn't do this to me, or that this shouldn't happen to me? So I started, doing what I always say is like, look at the cup half full instead of half empty. So I said, you know what? I'm here. I'm alive. They call ovarian cancer the silent killer for a reason. Most people don't know they have it until it's too late. I miraculously had a 5-pound tumor and had absolutely no signs of cancer anywhere else in my body. So I didn't have to go to chemo, radiation, none of that. So I started looking at, the silver lining, if you can say, and realized all the blessings I have in my life. And thought, I'm on a mission to help women. I feel like God, wants me to help women and to help people. This is why I'm here. I got to make it meaningful. And also, it made me realize that I am the machine. If I'm not here anymore, who's going to support my kids, my family? I'm an only child. My husband, I'm sure he could have moved on, probably found somebody else. We were still young, but my kids will never have another mother, and my parents will never have another daughter. So what would I have for them to survive? I just had a $1 million life insurance policy, and that was going to run out fairly quickly. So I started kind of researching of how to build true wealth, not like get rich quick schemes, but how do I do that? And lo and behold, it's been in my backyard all this time. I realized real estate investing is the key, and it's the way. So I met a friend of mine who was already kind of doing it, who invited me to this 3-day seminar that I attended, and I ended up signing up with them. And I went from having just my personal home and my building where my law office is at to right now I have over 80 properties, over 100 doors of rentals. I've done a lot of flips. I've done a lot of wholesaling, and I kind of teach it to people now. And I try to help women. And I created a women's group as well for real estate investing to help women, because I truly believe that, and it's not just women, even though we call it women, men show up all the time and we don't discriminate. But I, try to like empower women, because at the end of the day, I feel like we, the women, as a single mom, you're left with the responsibility. Like, and I'm not saying that's the case for everybody, but most of the time, we can't just leave. We can't just leave the child and leave. Men, usually if they want to, they can. Right. But we have that motherly responsibility instinct, I guess, and we have to figure out a way to push our family through, to get by. So I feel like this is something that anybody can do. It's actually fairly easy. It's not like, it's just going to come to you sitting at home. Mm-hmm. All you got to do is network. You got to connect. You got to make mistakes. I welcome mistakes, because when I make mistakes, I learn. As long as you learn from them, then you know not to repeat them. And then you can show the next person, hey, don't make this mistake that I made. So that's how I, got into real estate. I love it. I help lots of investors currently, get all their deals through. And, as an immigrant, I help all my immigrant community as well, especially right now in these hard times that we're facing. And I tell my people, hey, we build, the houses. We are the plumbers. We're the electricians. Why are we not doing this for ourselves? Mm-hmm. So me and my husband started the Hispanic side of it, where we teach all that, my mentor teaches in English. We started the Hispanic side of it, and we teach it in Spanish. So we're like slowly but surely kind of helping people realize that you can do this. You have the most important thing, which is the skill, and we're hardworking people. So let's do this. So that's a little bit about me.
Well, that is phenomenal. As I was reading through your bio, one of the things that you mentioned is that you had the "I can do anything if I work hard" attitude.
Mhm.
What drove that? What was it that made you go, okay, this is how I've got to believe?
Well, it was that concept of fear, So I started thinking during that year of darkness, I call it, in my life, when after, I was blessed with life, but angry that at what I was missing versus what I still had. I thought to myself, well, what is there left for me to do? Well, the only way I can describe it is like, and I'm not by any means saying that this is the same thing, but when a woman gets, assaulted, like they take something from you that you didn't want to voluntarily give up. And I felt that way. I felt like, my ovaries were my reproductive system was taken from me. So I must not be a woman anymore. I'm less than a woman. Like I didn't feel complete. Instead of saying, you know what, I'm here. I'm alive. Not everyone woke up today. I did. I didn't have to do chemo. I didn't have to do radiation. I didn't lose my hair. I didn't, have to deal with any other stuff that so many people have to deal with. So then I thought back, okay, well, how do I get back to being that person that I was? And it took me all the way back to, coming here, crossing the border and all that. And remembering, kind of talking over with my mom, like what happened, because I remember bits and pieces of it. And then, she told me, well, we got deported twice. And I was like, we did? And she said, yeah, we got deported twice. At the time, like, there wasn't penalties for being deported like there is now, thankfully. And I'm like, I kind of remember going back and forth, but I'm 4 or 5 years old. I'm thinking we're in a field trip, like the Border Patrol talking to us, I wasn't scared. I started in a new school when I got here. I didn't know any English. I wasn't scared. I got pregnant and had my child. I wasn't scared. I decided to go to law school and like I just said, I'm going to do it. I wasn't really scared. There was no nothing stopping me. There was no fear. Mm-hmm. Then this happens to me and all of a sudden I'm scared. So I thought, okay, so fear is the problem. So fear stops you from doing things. It can either drive you or it can stop you. But if you really want something and you work hard for it, it can happen. We're in the land of opportunities, truly the land of opportunities. And, if you just don't let that fear kind of paralyze you and use it as fuel, which is what I used to do. And then when I realized that was, kind of like the concept I was leading with before, I got back to it and I said, you know what, I'm going to do it. Because what's the worst that can happen? It doesn't go my way. Okay, then I have to learn from that. And then I'm going to try again. Because I truly believe that it's for me. It's going to come to me. I just have to work hard and get it done because nothing in life is easy.
Yeah. I love that. In your bio, it said your signature approach is making fear your friend.
Yes.
And I think that's exactly what you just talked about. You talk about using it as fuel for bold, life-changing moves in business and investing, which obviously you did. I mean, starting your own law firm. How old were you when you started your first law firm?
I was 28.
Wow.
Yeah. And, that's not what I wanted to do. I went to law school and I thought, I'm going to work at a big law firm. I'm going to become partner one day and I'm just going to be like amazing. Like entrepreneurship was not something I even thought about. Mm-hmm. But, I kind of did it without even thinking because I got so frustrated with the people I was working with that didn't want to help people the way I wanted to help people. And I understand there's a business to run. And you've got to make some kind of profit to keep the lights on. I completely get that. But you also have to give back, because I truly believe that when you give back, it comes back to you 3 times, So like God will always provide a way if you lead with faith and you really do it because you want to do it, not because you think you're going to get something out of it.
Right. Yeah. So here you are. You've got your law firm. You're making income from helping people, on the law side. What made you decide real estate? that's the next thing for you. Tell us about your first property, how you even got it,
Yeah.
how you made all that happen.
Yeah, for sure. So like I said, when I started researching, like, if this ever happens to me again, because I mean, yes, I'm cancer free right now, but I was cancer free, and then one day I woke up and I had it. So unfortunately, cancer is one of those things that doesn't discriminate.
Right.
It doesn't matter if you're a man, woman, how old, how young, what race, nationality, religion. It just happens, right? And that's one of those mysteries we'll never really, at least during my lifetime, get to know why. But that possibility then all of a sudden entered my mind, and I thought, well, what if it happens again? What am I going to have? I need to be protected and secure to know that my kids will be okay, that my parents will be okay, that I've done something with this life, because life is a gift and I have to make the best of it. I can't waste it. So I started researching that, and then real estate was the thing that kept popping up. How do millionaires become millionaires? How do people get secured? Like the stock market, great, it can go up and down, and you could literally get wiped out in like that. It's a risk. But real estate is the one thing that's secure if you do it right and if you play your cards right. And the risk is very minimal because you have something, you have collateral, you have something there of value.
Yeah.
So my friend invited me to this seminar. I became part of it. And then our first property that we got, everything that could go wrong went wrong. Everything. I mean, from like our condensers were stolen twice. They broke in and like trashed the kitchen, took the cabinet. I mean, I wanted to cry. I was like, oh my God, like, what am I going to do? Like, I have to replace all these things. Property's about to be ready to get, listed, and they break in. And, luckily, I just kind of, instead of being scared, I was like, okay, it's not like, oh my God, how can this happen to me? It's okay, how can I fix it? I started learning about wholesaling, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna get a few properties. I'm gonna wholesale them so I can make this money and, get back on top, which is exactly what I did. Me and my husband, we wholesaled 2 properties during that time. We got enough money to repair and replace everything that was broken, and then we finished the property. As a result of that.
So for the people listening, walk us through wholesaling.
Sorry, wholesaling is for real estate is when you put an offer on a contract. So I'm the buyer, and let's say I get the property for $100,000, and I know that this property, any investor will take it for $120,000. So instead of me closing on it, I'll go and I'll offer it to you, and I'll say, hey, I have this property under contract. You want it for $120,000, and for you, it still makes sense. It's still a fabulous deal, and you're like, absolutely, I'll take it. So now I don't actually have to close on that property. I just assign you my contract, and you're going to give me $20,000 when you close.
Okay.
So to put it in simple terms, right? There's a couple different ways to do it, but that's pretty much how you do it. You find, sellers that are willing to give it to you at a very discounted rate, and then you find buyers that want it at a little bit higher than what you got it, and you kind of make profit in the middle without having to close on it, without having to get a loan with, just kind of finder's fee, if you may.
Right.
So we did a few of those, and we were able to recover the money that was stolen, or, the damage that was caused. So we finished the property. We had a lot of issues with contractors too. And my husband was a full-time realtor, but because of that, he decided to become a general contractor. And now he's a full-time general contractor. And because of the way that I handle the situation and whatnot, people started asking me, well, you're a real estate attorney, right? Like, can you help me with my closings? Sure. And so they started calling me like the right attorney. They're like, you're the right attorney for this. So now, like, I always call myself, I'm like, I'm the right attorney, So I started working with a lot of investors because of the way that investment properties usually have issues. There might be liens, there may be tax issues, that you're getting them at a discount because there's something with them. So we try, we help, fix all that so that you still get a very profitable deal. And we help investors close on properties, all the time. So my practice kind of grew in that area because of my own personal experiences, and people just started recommending me. And, now we get, 20 to 30 contracts a week of other investors buying and helping them, like, either wholesale the properties or close on them or, whatnot.
Okay. So is that We Win?
So I started We Win after joining this group because I told my mentor at the time, I said, hey, there's a lot of women that can benefit from this, but I feel that us women, sometimes we may get a little intimidated when we walk into a classroom and most of the people there are men. It could be a little intimidating. I mean, just think of the word investor. When you think of it, you usually think of a man. You don't really think of a woman.
Yeah.
So I said, I would like to start kind of like a little group of, just talking to women and whatnot. So we started We Win, which is now called the Women's Real Estate Investment Network. We altered the name a little. And it's basically we do meetings once or twice a month, real estate related, to help women jump into the world of investment. And we give out grants, to like if you have a property and you don't have the earnest money deposit or things of that nature to kind of help you get started.
Okay, great. So you're doing education then at your meetings with the women, is teaching them what you've learned along the way.
Yeah. And we've met some incredible women, let me tell you. I mean, I met women that are electricians, that are plumbers, roofers, like we're out there, ladies, let's not hide. I always say, I'm like, why, you need to market this. This is awesome. Like, we're out there.
Yeah. And the trades are harder to find now, the folks that are working in the trades, and they're great careers or great businesses to start. You just don't hear about them very often until you find your own trusted group of vendors, right? Subcontractors that can do good work for you. So when you first started, you said there were lots of things you didn't know. How did you handle those unknown things, and what do you recommend that people do today that are wanting to get started or just got started?
I definitely think you have to get out there and network. Whenever it's something I don't know, I ask. It's okay to say, I don't know. Like, do you know? Like, I'll put it in, in my group chat, or I'll reach out to people. Hey, have you ever encountered this issue? Or do you know somebody that might know how to do this? Have you bought a property in this village or in this state? What can you tell me? Like, people are out there, and people are more than willing to give you the information. You just have to ask for it. I always tell my people, like, if you don't ask, you're not going to receive, because no one's going to come up to you and say, hey, do you have any problems today? Anything I can help you with? They're not going to do that. Like, you have to speak up. Don't be afraid to speak up. Even if you're in a room full of men, speak up, because I promise you that there's at least one other person wondering the same thing you are.
Now, has being a woman in business shaped you? In what ways has it shaped you?
I think it's actually a plus. I think it's like, people are always talking about, like, oh, have you felt, discriminated or less than because you're a woman? I'm like, no, I think it's actually the opposite. If you know how to use your talents for good, like, a lot of times, like, I mean, I'm not ashamed to say it. I'll call the village and be like, I'm so sorry. I really don't know what I'm doing. Can you help me? Oh, they'll help me. They'll totally help me. Like, it's okay. Like, hey, use, what you have to, get the information you need. And a lot of times people are more willing to help a woman that's being sincere and honest about what it is that they're trying to find out than, somebody that comes off as like, you don't have to come off as a strong, like, masculine personality to get across. Just be yourself and just be honest. I think honesty is 100% the best policy.
Yeah. So you've done a lot, learned a lot. So what chapter would you say you're stepping into in your life?
It's interesting because I just signed up for a course on estate planning. And I think that's kind of where I'm heading, because I'm finding out that a lot of people, especially the type of investors that I work with, have a lot of needs with estate planning. So we got all these assets, we got all these properties. Now what? How do you protect them, right? Like, what happens if someone comes and sues you? Are you protected? Especially right now with my immigrant community, if you get deported, what happens to your property? What happens to your money, your kids? So I actually started taking a class so that I can be better prepared to help clients with estate planning. So I think that's kind of be the next thing I transition into. I eventually want to be like the family attorney, like where, all of your needs, get met, with somebody that you can trust and that, stays with the family for a long time. I'd rather have, 10 really great clients that I know their situation, that they can call me anytime, than to have 100 who are just a number to me. I like to get personal with my clients. I like to be able to know them. I like to be able to, they all have my cell phone number. A lot of my colleagues tell me, you should not be giving out your cell phone number. I'm like, no, my clients are respectful. I think, when they text me, they need me, and they're usually very apologetic. I'm sorry to bother you on Labor Day, but, and it's like, hey, we all have needs, and sometimes it can't wait, especially in real estate. So I like being personal with my clients.
Great. How do people find you?
There's many ways. I have an Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, my website, diazcase.com, my cell phone number, 773-318-0216, email. You just plug my name in, I'm sure it'll come up.
Fantastic. So, you're working hard to help others. What are your long-term goals? What is your next big thing other than the estate planning side of your business, but from the real estate side, what is your next big goal?
Yeah, I don't really need to buy any more properties. I think I'm okay where I'm at. I just kind of want to start paying them off. Like, it's great to have this many properties, but they all have mortgages. So it's time to kind of focus and start paying them off. Keep the really good ones. Maybe let go of the ones that I can go without, and just really build a solid portfolio that I can live off of. And like, I don't want to work this hard for the rest of my life. My oldest daughter just graduated from law school, so she's about to start her law career, and hopefully in the next 5-10 years, I could just pass it on over, and now it's her turn to work.
Mm-hmm. So what is your monthly goal for passive income? Because to me, passive income is what a lot of real estate investors look for.
My monthly goal for passive income originally was $20K. I'm a little bit above that. So I think I'm good. Like, you also can't, like, people sometimes want to accumulate.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what for if you're not going to enjoy it, right? So I'm not like, I feel blessed. I'm content. Of course, like, there's always more out there, and it's great if you could get it, but I'm not like, that's not really what I'm searching for. Now I want to help other people get it, because it can't always be about you. You got to give back. So I think that passive income wise, I'm okay. But now I want to like pass it down to my kids, and I want to show them how to do it so that they can build it for their kids. And, eventually one day, like, our family, name will be, wealthy, and that's how you start. I always tell my parents, I'm like, Mom, Dad, everyone starts somewhere. Nobody is just woke up one day and became wealthy. They had to start somewhere so their kids can then, do it, and their kids and their grandkids. So, I just want to teach my kids how to, have a secure future.
Yeah. I come from a family of 10 kids. My grandparents came to the U.S. from Mexico. And, we grew up in a very humble home. But my parents said, your ticket up and out is education. So luckily, fortunately, we were all able to go to college. And, I went into banking, and I thought, well, that's all there is to know, right? They taught me a lot about CDs and traditional investments. Never once did I know about real estate during that 20-year career until I left banking, and then found multifamily real estate investing. And I said, wow, it's like you said, it's a way to give people a nice home and generate some great passive income. So I completely agree with you that real estate has been a game changer for you, and it's been a game changer for me. And I hope it is for a lot of other women. This is an opportunity for you to give women advice. So if you were going to give advice to someone who's never invested in real estate but is interested, what would your advice be? where would you tell them to get started? And then what would you tell them has been key to your success?
I think definitely look at your local RIAs. Just like go to Google and type in, like if you're in New York RIA, like just look for groups, even on Facebook. There's a lot of groups that you just put in real estate that are local that you can join and start kind of networking, even if it's virtual. There's a lot of YouTube videos. There's a lot of education out there. You just got to know, how to decipher, the real from like, not that it's not real, but some of it is just,
Gimmick.
Yeah. Exactly. So like, just education, obviously education is key. You have to educate yourself, but you also have to get out there and network. You cannot be afraid to network. You have to. Like, it's key. This is how you find good deals. This is how you meet good people. This is how you meet your private money lenders. This is how you'll meet, your hard money lenders, by networking with people. So don't be afraid to go up to people and just say hello. Like if they're off-putting and they don't want to talk to you, go to the next one. It's okay. Maybe they're having a bad day. Bless them. Wish them nothing but the best and keep it moving. And don't ever close your doors. Don't ever say, I'll never do that. Or, no, I don't want to do that. Like be open-minded and just learn what it is before you shut it down. Because I said I would never do real estate and immigration, and here I am. So, it's like you have to be open-minded and know that it's okay if it doesn't go your way the first time. Learn from that and do it again. Don't give up. It'll happen. It'll definitely happen.
No, I completely agree with you. You're a living testament of starting with one house and now you have 80. That's incredible. We started with 24 units and now we've bought over 5,800 units. Mm-hmm. So it's definitely possible. And I think one of the myths is you have to have a lot of money to start. But you're saying no, you're saying there are, private lenders, there's hard money lenders, there's ways to get the dollars to buy your first investment. But I agree with you. Educate yourself first. Don't throw your money down the drain by not understanding what you're getting into. So,
and always make sure you put everything in writing. Like always make sure. I don't care if it's your best friend or your mother or your child. Like put it in writing so it's crystal clear and you secure your interest in whatever it is that you're doing. We can't do the handshake anymore because when it comes to money and power, people turn ugly. But if it's all written down and it's, clear as crystal, there is no room for misinterpretation. Not that I'm saying that it could go south, but if it ever did, you have it all in writing. Protect yourself. Do it smart. Don't do it with feelings. Do it with your head.
Spoken like a true learner. Write it down. Get it in a contract. Put it on something that will hold up in court or in any type of dispute. So, well, wow, you've shared a lot about resilience. You've shared a lot about how hard work gets you where you need to go, and about guts. Just not letting fear control you, but letting it be kind of turning it into a positive. So thank you so much for sharing your story with others and your contact information you shared earlier in the podcast. And I wish you continued good luck. If you're ever in Texas, in San Antonio, give me a shout.
Definitely.
Let's stay connected. We both have the same mission of helping women grow their wealth. So continued good luck, Gina. So nice to meet you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Awesome. Thank you.